You want to improve faster, but you don't know how. Maybe your progress has slowed up, or maybe you're not improving at all. This is common for young footballers, and most continue to train in the same way. But the truth is, you need something fresh, something to challenge yourself. If you keep doing the same things, you'll keep getting the same results. Your results are a direct reflection of the work that you put in, and there's a good chance that you could be making a whole lot more progress with these 4 training methods. Rewind 4 or 5 years ago, and the second lockdown was just beginning. I decided that I wanted to make a change in my life. I'd never actually grinded football before, so this was going to be my first time actually locking in. I was focusing on my technical ability, and I was making massive progress. My ball control, my dribbling, my aerial control, everything was improving and coming together. But because I wasn't playing any matches or actually doing any team training, there was no way for me to show off my new skills. And after a few weeks of doing this every single day, I got really good and I got into a rhythm of just training alone. This technical training that I was doing was actually a huge part of my success, and if I didn't do it, I would have definitely still been stuck in Sunday League, because if you want to make it to the pro level, then you have to be technically better than everyone else. So if you're seeing some of the dribbles and other moves that I'm doing on screen right now, and you're thinking in your head, there's absolutely no way I can do this, I'm not this technically good, then don't worry, because you can literally train the exact same way that I did by using my program. That'll be the first thing in the description if you are trying to get signed to a professional academy. Now back to the story. So I continued focusing on my technical ability, but then my progress fell off a complete cliff and I literally stopped improving, and I had no idea why. But then I carried on training in this way, and I was just repeating the same movements for the sake of it. Eventually, I became very frustrated and angry about making zero progress, and I knew I needed a fresh training method so I could actually improve. So I called my friends up to come train with me, and naturally, as competitive players, we wanted to see who was the best. And there began the first training method that skyrocketed my progress, 1v1s. I learned so much in such a short time actually doing this, and most importantly, it made me way more effective. You see, there's only so much theory work that you can actually do. Watching YouTube videos like this and doing drills by yourself is good, but it's not the real game. When I threw myself in the deep end, doing 1v1s every single day, over a 3-month period, I must have done at least 1,000 1v1s. I learned the best method for dribbling at players and beating players, and even as a winger back then, I learned the best method for defending players, learning how to use my body and how to jockey players. By doing 1v1s, you'll learn a lot about yourself and your attributes as a player, because you're literally comparing yourself to another player and seeing who's better in every single different stat. And eventually, after putting in thousands of reps, you'll get better at reading players' movements, you'll start to recognize patterns, learning the exact mechanics of what it takes to beat a player 1v1 or defend a player 1v1. The thing is, I can tell you the exact methods on how to do this, but honestly, the best way to learn is to just experiment yourself. 1v1s give you the freedom to try out new moves, and this is another thing that helped me become a way more creative player in game. For example, practicing the reverse elastico in a no pressure environment where the worst possible outcome is my teammate literally tackles me and we do another 1v1, that helped me to be able to perform and actually do moves like that on the big stage. So for 1v1s, please just practice them as much as you possibly can, because your progress will skyrocket. Flash forward a couple years and I hit another roadblock. I'd made it to a decent level, but I was so one-dimensional. All I wanted to do was take players on 1v1. And yeah, sometimes it worked, but if a team were able to identify this, they'd have 2 or 3 players who are super prepared for me to actually dribble at them. And yeah, sure, every now and again I would get a really nice video of me dribbling through a few players, but I was just so one-dimensional, and my team wanted to be a possession-based team, and that meant playing against teams who also just sat back against us, and obviously you can't dribble through 11 players every single time, so I needed a new way to play. And that's when the second training method hit me. I knew that I needed to develop my football IQ. If you can't always beat a player with your physical skills, you can still be a better player than them by using your brain. I mean, just look at some of the best players in the world. They aren't the most physical, they also aren't the best at 1v1s, but what they do have is a brain. There's a few ways in which you can improve your football IQ, but firstly, let me tell you what it did for me. It improved my decision making, and this is literally the most important thing on the football pitch, because if you can just make the right decision more often, you will simply become a better player, and scouts will notice this. There's 3 methods in which I improve my football IQ. The first one is simply just playing more games. When you play the real game, you get into so many different scenarios and situations where you have to use your brain to make a decision. And the more situations you get into, just like 1v1s, where you know there's a decision to be made, you can go left, you can go right, you can pass, you can dribble. The more times that you get into a scenario like this, the more likely you are to make the better decision because you've seen it all before. So the first is simply just experience. Make sure you're playing consistent games and don't do what I did. I sat on the bench for a couple seasons. My coach was constantly lying to me saying, you're going to get a chance, you're going to get a chance. And I ended up just waiting around for that opportunity, sitting on the bench. And eventually, 2 seasons passed and I just hadn't improved. You can't improve at football, or especially not improve your football IQ, if you're not actually playing the real game. So make sure you're actually playing football, because otherwise there's just no way you're going to go pro if you're sitting on the bench. The second method to improving your football IQ is by reviewing games. Of course, if your team has a camera, watch yourself, but if not, you can still watch pro games and get most of the benefits from this. Here, all you want to do is watch the player in your position or yourself and simply analyze absolutely everything that goes on the pitch, where they're standing when the ball's on the right-hand side of the pitch, their body shape, how they move on the ball, and you'll start to recognize patterns here. You'll see, when this player gets the ball here, he makes that pass often. And then when you basically watch these things over and over again, you'll be able to take that into your own game. So for example, me as a left back, if I watch a professional footballer in their game as a left back and I see, when he gets the ball on the left-hand side, he skins a player, he takes a heavy touch forward, then I'll be able to take that exact move into my game because I'll know that it works, because there's proof of it working in the pro game. And thirdly, scanning. In order to make good decisions on the pitch, you actually have to have a picture of what's going on. Otherwise, you're simply just guessing, or if the ball's coming to you and you're taking about 10 seconds to have a look around, you can't play at a high intensity. This one is such an easy fix. Literally at all times on the pitch, just have in the back of your mind, I need to be checking my shoulders. I need to be looking around the pitch. What would I do if the ball came to me right now? That is the most important question you can ask yourself as many times as possible on the actual pitch. Simply, what would I do if the ball came to me right now? And then you'll be able to spot patterns. You'll be able to spot things that you could do, and then you're more likely to make the right decision. To begin with, you'll have to think about scanning actively, but eventually, after doing it so many times, it will just become muscle memory and natural to you, and you won't have to think about it, so it'll be easier for you to get into the flow state. Let's take it back a few years now. There was once a time I was filled with distractions, girls, messing around in school, and not even concentrating in football. Even though I said I wanted to be a footballer, I just couldn't act like it. I wasn't improving, and my confidence was at an all-time low because of this. Eventually, in response to this, I discovered a training method that requires zero work on the pitch. It's called manifesting and visualization work. I'm not about to give you some magic lesson here, but there is a lot of truth behind your beliefs. What you think about is what you'll become. If you're constantly thinking about missing a penalty, you're way more likely to miss it. And at the same time, if you're thinking in your head, I'm going to be a professional footballer, you're way more likely to achieve that dream. The reason for this is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you think about missing a penalty, your nerves build up, and then you miss because of those nerves. And at the same time, when you think you're going to become a professional footballer, you start to act like it and you train more. So what I'm telling you here is actually believe in yourself. Close your eyes and imagine yourself walking out on the big stage in front of thousands of fans. Imagine yourself performing insane moves on the pitch, because those beliefs will manifest themselves into your every single day life. Your brain has a very hard time distinguishing reality from imagination, so you can literally gaslight yourself into becoming a professional footballer. You believe you can dribble past 3 players on the pitch and you see it so clearly in your head, and it will happen. You believe you're going to become a professional footballer and watch yourself train every single day. This is exactly what I did, and not only did it improve my confidence, but it actually allowed me to begin my grind, and it removed all of those distractions. Now, let's take it to almost the present day, summer 2025. I was actually quite happy with how I progressed last season, but with this one drill, it allowed me to become a way more dynamic player, my reaction time improved, and my technical ability improved. And I improved so much from this one single drill that I had to add it to my program for all my students to use, because it would have been criminal for me to gatekeep it. It's called speedball, and basically your partner throws the ball up in the air to you and he calls out a number, and each number is associated with a different part of your foot, and you have to control the ball with that part of your foot and then return it to him. And there's so many variations of this. He can call out multiple numbers, and then you have to use multiple parts of your foot before actually returning it back. And basically what this does for you is it gives you another option. You become comfortable with using all parts of your foot. So for me, something that I wasn't comfortable with before this was using the outside of my foot. It just never really occurred to me to control the ball with the outside of my foot. But then, once I started doing this drill, I got so comfortable on both of the outsides of my foot, and every single week I'm still improving by doing this, And I was able to take that into my games. I was more dynamic, and I've actually started controlling a ball in game with the outside of my foot. And in some situations, you might need to do that because it's a little bit quicker, or you can bring the ball to the ground a little bit faster. Not only did it improve my technical ability, but it improved my reaction time, because you only have one bounce to return the ball to them. And this forces your brain to act quicker. It forces your brain to go, oh, okay, this number is associated with this part of your foot, and then I'm gonna move my foot here. So basically what's going on in your brain when this actually happens is you're onboarding information, and you have to respond to this information in a limited amount of time. And you can take this into game, because let's say, for example, your teammate says, through ball, you can make that decision a little bit quicker because you've been practicing a drill like this. And that can literally be the difference between your team winning a game or losing. For a more detailed explanation on this unbelievable drill, you can find that inside my program. It's literally the best drill that I've found in recent times, and not only has it accelerated my football progress, but again, my students too. Of course, my program isn't just one drill. It's the entire system that will take you from grassroots to the professional academy, from technical training to mentality to gym work to actually getting pro opportunities to how to smash your trial. Everything is included. I spent over 6 months creating the pro player pathway and teamed up with Arsenal and Colombian international player Alexei Rojas to create something so special that will guarantee your success as a footballer. So if you are looking to become a professional footballer, you know what to do. Click the top link in the description. I hope to see you inside, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.